Engines in cars are getting smaller, more fuel efficient and more power efficient with every single passing year. And that means that inevitably, not only the capacity of these engines goes down, but also the number of cylinders that they have too. Back in the days of the 1960s and 70s, you regularly got these big V8 block engines on muscle cars, although now you only really see 8-cylinder cars in the very highest end of performance categories. There's a number of different reasons for this. Like I said, the increased efficiency of smaller engines, the larger emphasis on reducing emissions, and also the popularity of things such as hybrids and also electric vehicles as well. EVs, of course, not having any internal combustion engine whatsoever. But 4-cylinder engines, how good are they? What are the big disadvantages and advantages to them? As someone who drives a car that has a 4-cylinder engine, I feel pretty qualified to be able to tell you about these and say how good or bad they actually are. So, here's my thoughts. There is always a natural inclination, particularly I feel for men, to want the biggest, most powerful car they can possibly get. Cynics may say they're trying to compensate for something, but there is something really cool about having a car that's got more cylinders and produces more power than your friends, or particularly your neighbours as well. Vanity projects aside though, there are some pretty big advantages to having a smaller engine. Like I said, it costs less to run, it produces less emissions, so if you are more environmentally conscious, it's good for you. But if you are more financially conscious, it's also good for you as well, because not only do they cost less to run in terms of the amount of fuel that you need to buy to keep it running, but also on top of that as well, it costs less in maintenance. There are less parts effectively to go wrong. For example, instead of having 6-cylinder heads, you have 4. Instead of having 6 spark plugs, you have 4. But do 4-cylinder engines actually pack a punch? Well, yeah. I drive a 2023 Kia Ceed GT line, and you know when you step on the loud pedal and go full throttle. It definitely has more than enough power to be able to get down motorways, or highways as the Americans call them, with ease. You can get to that 70-mile-an-hour speed limit really quickly, which is really good when you're trying to merge onto a fast road. Part of the reason why it has so much power though is because of the turbocharger. And this is another thing as well. It's not just hybrids that also boost the power of your car without increasing the amount of cylinder heads you have, but it's also things like turbos as well. If you have one of those on it, you get a lot more power too. And having a 4-cylinder car is actually pretty popular. For example, the most recent statistics in the United States show that more than 60% of vehicles have 4 cylinders in their cars. And I bet in countries like the UK and a lot of European nations, it's even higher than that. Although I don't have those stats to hand, so let me know in the comments if you know them. But there are some disadvantages. Like I said, these do not produce as much power as something like a V6. That is inevitable, the engine is smaller. There's no getting away from that. Now, for something relatively small, again, my car, I think, is actually pretty big, to be honest. But in terms of the size of it compared to something like an SUV, it is relatively small. And you do need more power to be able to move a bigger car. Newtonian physics will tell you that. Or just plain common sense, whatever you prefer. So if you've got a larger car, like an SUV, or a larger state car or something like that, then you probably want a bit more power. Again, it's not required, it's not necessary, but when you've got a bigger vehicle, that extra power does make a difference. Not necessarily on long journeys, but instead just getting off the line in tricky conditions, when it's snowing, when it's raining, when you're going uphill. You could really do with that much power, particularly if you've got the family in the back, you've got loads of luggage in the car, things like that. It can really weigh it down. In some older 4-cylinder cars, again, I don't think this is a problem for most new vehicles that have 4 cylinders. You will probably find as well that your car may well not be as fuel efficient as something that has 6 cylinders. Again, this is for longer trips when you're doing a higher speed, but the engine effectively will work harder. It's great for city driving, but when you get out onto the motorway, get onto the highway, get onto rural roads, it's a different story entirely. Plus, as well, the biggest one, cargo. I'm not just talking about items in the vehicle. I'm talking as well about things you're towing. Again, makes a massive difference when you're wanting to tow something like a caravan or a trailer as well. That extra power makes a huge difference. And as much as I love my car, I think that if I did try and tow a caravan, it would potentially struggle around certain corners and also up certain hills as well, although that is something that I'm yet to experience. But again, especially for smaller vehicles, older vehicles that have 4 cylinders, you'd much rather have something with 6 or maybe even 8 cylinders. So in conclusion, guys, in general, for most users, 4-cylinder engines are more than enough for most people, but there are certain scenarios where 6-cylinder engines or something bigger do really make a big difference. If you're towing something, if you have a larger car, if it's difficult conditions, those can really make a big difference. But in general, 4-cylinder cars, and the stats do back this up, there is a reason why they are so popular. They're pretty good these days. But your thoughts in the comments below. Do you drive a 4-cylinder car? Do you like it? Does it make a big difference? Would you like an extra 2? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below as always, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.